Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Coalossal V. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Coalossal is getting a Pokemon V, so we probably need to take a little bit of a look at Coalossal V. Now, our translation, of course, does come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, one of our very favourites, and 220 HP is pretty high for a Coalossal. For any Pokemon V, to be honest. And it's got a retreat cost of 4, which opens you up to buff padding, which means you can actually do more than that. You can be up at 270 HP. And 270 HP is pretty gosh darn high. Now, the good news is here, you're actually a fighting Pokemon. You're not a fire Pokemon. That's both good and bad news. We'll get there. Good news, you're weak to grass. Like, no good grass Pokemon are around at the moment. So, yeah, that's pretty good, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty nice. And being a fighting Pokemon means you do have access to Diancie Prism Star, although only for a tiny bit pre-rotation. But you've still got Martial Arts Dojo to do a little bit of extra damage. You've still got Karate Belt to reduce your attack cost by 1 fighting energy, assuming you're behind on prizes. And you're hitting weakness against stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom and Eternatus VMAX. Or to put it another way, pretty much all the best Pokemon in the game right now. Although if you were fire, you would have access to Welder to accelerate energy, and that would be pretty gosh darned awesome. Of course, it is worth pointing out that we've never actually had a fire Coalossal, but I'm sure we will one day. Now, if we have a quick look at what it actually does, because that is largely the most important thing here, the first attack, 2 fighting, 1 colourless energy, 90 damage plus burn. And this is one of those where it really is best if you make the most out of the whole burn thing. Now, there is a way to get this going turn 1 going second, but it's kind of awkward. Now, like every Pokemon around at the moment, you can use Turbo Patch. That's the one where you flip a coin and if heads, you attach a basic energy from your discard to one of your basic non-GX Pokemon. Clearly, you can use that. If you don't want to use that, the way you do it is use something like Miss Magius with Duskstone. KOs itself, draws till you've got 7 cards in your hand. Then you're behind on prizes, so Karate Bout will reduce your attack cost by 1. You attach a fighting energy, and then you use Tapu Koko Prism Star to attach a lightning, and that will be your colourless energy, and this is rolling turn 1 going second. Now, I, for a while, talked about doing this with Regirock. And I still like the idea of doing it with Regirock, except I've not managed to get it really working with Regirock. Not only that, but Regirock, if I'm going second and I use the attack turn 1, I'm doing 190 damage. That is 100 more damage. Even if you take out the burn, it's hard to make an argument for Coalossal over Regirock when Regirock has the same HP and the same attack cost, but comes in with 100 more damage. Now, to be fair, Regirock isn't able to use buff padding, and Regirock does have to do 30 damage to itself when it attacks, but make no mistake about it, when it comes down to it, Regirock's attack is better. And to be fair, we could move on to Sandaconda here as well. Sandaconda is another basic fighting Pokemon V, they're all basics, and for the same attack cost does 220 damage. Now you do have to discard 2 energy from the Pokemon to do so it's not an ideal situation. It's going to be hard to chain those attacks. But in terms of going second turn 1, let's do this, clearly Sandaconda is also better. And to be honest with you, although we have had some really nice tricks for burn in the format we're just leaving, the burn tricks are going as well. Well, a Volcano Park that stops your opponent flipping heads to get out of it, that's going. The Infernape that makes burn put 6 damage counters on rather than 2 between turns. Well, we've actually had 2 different versions of it, 1 fire and 1 fighting, and they're both going away. One was in Forbidden Light, 1 was in Ultra Prism. Both those sets will be rotating. So essentially what that means is, I don't know if I like this first attack. because we could just do a lot more damage somewhere else. And it's not like burn is sleep or confusion or paralysis that would stop your opponent attacking. All it's doing in burn is putting on a bit of extra damage, but Regirock does an extra 100, Sandaconda does an extra 130, and I know that Coalossal's attack has an upside burn, rather than a downside self-damage or discarding energy, but it still doesn't seem good enough. Unless you're hitting for weakness. 90, double with weakness, will get a one-hit KO on Crobat V, which is quite nice. And if you are behind on prizes and you've got Martial Arts Dojo out, you'll be doing 130, which double with weakness gets a one-hit KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, but doesn't actually get a one-hit KO on Eternatus V Max. You need 170 for that, so you're not even particularly close. Yeah, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not loving this first attack. But the second attack, you're not doing 170, you're doing 180. And it is just free fighting, one colorless energy, 180 damage. What we like to refer to as a vanilla attack. And I'll be honest with you, it's fine, but it's not terribly inspiring. I mean, years ago when Burning Shadows came out, we were using this attack. Ho-Oh for free fire one colorless energy did 180 damage. Now, it did say you couldn't use that attack during your next turn, whereas there's no downside to this. But we're several years further on here, and also Ho-Oh had Kiawe, so you could just attach 4 energy using Kiawe. You had to end your turn to do so, but you attached 4 energy using Kiawe. Most of the time it was worth ending your turn on that one. So that was kind of cool. Is this good enough? You're still not doing huge. I mean, you're still 40 damage shy of Sandaconda, which is a bit of a problem for me. And you're still 10 damage short of Regirock, and both of those Pokemon are actually attacking for 1 fewer energy. And yes, fine, there are downsides to their attacks, but it's not even that close. You're literally paying more energy to do less damage. And if you're hitting for weakness, you will even get up to Eternatus V Max, that has a joint highest HP of any Pokemon we've seen so far. Or Snorlax V Max, which is the other one that's got that much HP. But if you're not hitting for weakness, I mean, if you're behind on prizes, you will get a Zacian V if you've got a Martial Arts Dojo in play. And look, getting a one-hit KO on one of the best Pokemon in the game when you've got a Martial Arts Dojo in play is fine, but not for 4 energy when you have to be behind on prizes as well. Something like Dragapult V Max, you're just miles away here. Honestly, you're not even 2-hit KOing them, because the resistance puts you down to 150, 2 attacks is 300, you're not even getting a KO there. You're miles away from getting a KO on something like Arceus and Dialga and Palkia. Essentially, you're getting a one-hit KO on single-prize Pokemon, and weak GXs like Blacephalon, although that will have rotated, just an example, and a few Pokemon V, things like Celebi. But most of the time here, you need to be using Martial Arts Dojo just to bring yourself up to a respectable amount of damage. Now, there is a clear and obvious combo here with Coalossal, the one from Rebel Clash, because that lets you attach a fighting and a fire energy from your discard to your Pokemon in any way you like, once per Coalossal per turn. But why would you not use Sandaconda? Like, the only downside of Sandaconda is that you are discarding 2 energy. So you discard 2 energy from Sandaconda, which funnily does actually make it better against stuff like Victini V that punish you for having energy attached. And then you just use Coalossal next turn to put the 2 energy back on and boom, 220. And it's got a single energy attack, so okay, it's not great, but at least turn 1 going second, you can do 30 damage and attach a fighting energy to it. Maybe get the second attack off turn 2 without having to worry about getting Coalossal out. And that's my biggest problem with Coalossal V. Why would I play it over Sandaconda? Sandaconda does 220 for free energy. Coalossal either does 90 plus burn or 180 for an extra energy. Plus, Sandaconda's got the first attack. They've got the same weakness. Okay, fine, I suppose Coalossal can use buff padding, but I'm not sure I'm buying that as an argument to play it. And the problem is that, yes, Sandaconda discards energy from itself, but it doesn't really matter because fighting just is so expensive at the moment. If you're going to be playing any Pokemon like this, you've got to be playing Coalossal. And if you're playing Coalossal, why would you want to play Coalossal V over Sandaconda V? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually giving this between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. It's not an out-and-out terrible card, but when I put this side by side with Regirock and Sandaconda, I really don't see why I would play Coalossal either of those. They've both got cheaper attacks, and they've both got more powerful attacks. And I'm sorry, but they're just better. I don't know, maybe I'm underselling it. Maybe I'm not as high on it as I should be. I'd like to know if you agree or disagree. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.